What does check disk is not available for raw drives mean? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for AskLeo.com. Here's a question. I'm having a problem with my external drive, so I ran check disk k://f on it. It gave me an error. Check disk is not available for raw drives. What? Why? What am I supposed to do? Windows thinks your drive isn't formatted at all, and that it has no data on it. Even the overhead information that tells Windows the location of your data is missing or unreadable. Now, this can happen for a variety of reasons, but if you expect there to be data on that drive, the news may not be good. Let me break out another tortured metaphor. Windows needs disks to have overhead information on them to tell them where the data is stored. The process of setting up that data is called initializing or formatting. Think of it as an expanse of bare land and putting streets on it. Nothing more, just streets. You may have seen new housing developments at this stage of construction. No buildings anywhere, but acres and acres of streets. The streets are that land's format. They tell the housing development where it can build houses on the land. A raw drive has no format. There are no streets for Windows to use or place to locate files. A raw drive is the disk equivalent of completely bare land. Check disk works on streets. To stretch the metaphor a little further, it walks the streets on the disk, making sure they're all properly maintained, that all the houses can be found, that the stop signs are where they're supposed to be, and that there are no oddities like one-way dead-end streets. With the /F switch, it'll actually try to fix the problems it finds, perhaps moving streets around, perhaps connecting abandoned streets, or otherwise doing the best it can to make sure the disk system of streets is all in good working order. But in order for check disk to do its work, it needs to have been started. The job is to check or fix a file system, which means there needs to be a file system to be checked or fixed. A raw drive has no file system, which is the equivalent of bare land with no streets at all. So, how you deal with the raw drive depends on your expectations and whether you think the drive has data on it. If you know that the drive is empty, it's really simple. Format it. There are several ways. The most common might be to right-click on the drive in Windows File Explorer if it appears there, and click on Format. You can also run the Disk Manager, where it might prompt you to initialize the disk before you can format it. Once done, you can run check disk if you like, though there should be nothing for check disk to fix. The streets have all been newly paved. If you believe the drive should have data on it, things get more difficult. In short, you'll want to try connecting the drive using a different USB cable, connecting the drive using a different USB slot, connecting the drive to a different computer, moving the drive perhaps to a different external enclosure, trying data recovery tools on the drive, or a data recovery service if the information is valuable enough. Depending on if and how you're able to get it to work, you can isolate the problem and also decide if it's time to replace the drive. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that getting to that last item in the list means you weren't backing up. Backing up before problems arise makes any data loss a complete non-issue. So, bottom line, back up your drives, internal or external, so that if anything ever happens, if any of them ever appear as raw, you'll not be faced with data loss. Then, follow the diagnostic steps above to hopefully regain access. Once you do, I'll say it again, make sure to start backing up if you haven't been. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/137122. I'm Leo Notenboom. This is AskLeo.com. Thanks for watching.